What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lore Reloaded channel. Always a great time to see you guys on the Geek Breakdown. Hey, what I'm going to be doing is I got a couple of announcements, so I'm going to break down what I usually do just to one. If you have a Twitter, please check me out at twitter.com/Lore Reloaded. Should this channel go down, that's going to be where I'm giving updates of what's going on, as well as my backup channel, Lore Rebooted, which I don't have linked anywhere, but will after this is done being live. If you're video on demand, you know how this works. I throw out a couple of things while I wait for people to join, and then I say hello, and then we just get into it. A couple of cool things. I have been invited to go to the Heroes and Villains Fan Fest in Nashville. That means I will be there. I'm not going to be on a panel or anything. I'm not that important, but it's going to be cool. I'm going to show up, do some videos, hopefully get to talk to a couple of people. Depending on how many people show up, I may do a lunch where if you're a fan of the channel, you can come have lunch or whatnot. Don't go out of your way to get there, but if you can get to Nashville, then let me know and we'll plan something. We'll have lunch or do something like that. Additionally, there is a fan movie coming out called The Romulan War, which I am going to be giving more information on and going to be working with the producer of it, who is in Nashville. Trek Yards has been involved in that. Really excited to be a part of that. So with that out of the way, let's talk to a couple of people and see what's going on. Of course, we have 14 Cylons in the house. Always a pleasure to have 14 Cylons. Old Firemaster, always here. Captain George, never a party till Captain George is here. Zeron the Gamer up in the house. Thomas Potts, Micah Leith, the Micah Leith, might I just say. Nathaniel Shade. When is the event in Nashville? That's a wonderful question. It'll be May 12th and 13th. Jonathan Stevie, what's up with you, good sir? Vico Davis, no colonials or Cylons are worthy of continued existence. Next topic. Done. We're done. So, just kidding. All right, so let's go ahead and get down into it, my peeps, and just discuss it. But before that, Captain George says, you're working on a fan film. That's amazing. I remember seeing Trek Yard ship breakdown earlier today. Can't wait to see that. No, I'm not actually. So let me say this. I'm going to be partnering with him because I really like the project that he's done and getting the word out there and helping out. There's no plans for me to have a specific role or anything with it, but it's a really good fan film, and I'm hoping that there's ways I can help him out. I always want to help out other projects, other fan films, other YouTubers, especially if what they're doing is worth it. So I would definitely go take that out. Crow Link's up in the house. So let's talk about the justified genocide of Cylons. Now, where I'm getting this from, I had it pulled up, and now it's gone, unless it's in another channel, and it's not. So, I don't have the episode name. If you guys can find the episode name in Battlestar Galactica, I would appreciate it. But here's the scenario. So, the Cylons have attacked the Colonials, and this is going to have spoilers, have attacked the Colonials' homeworld, all of the colonies. All the colonies are gone. Billions upon billions upon billions just wiped away in nuclear war. And the human race has been all but wiped out, except for some 30,000 people. And the Cylons have been chasing the Colonials for years. They will not let them go. They will not take the win. They hunt them and they try to kill them. So we have that. Now, the Cylons run into an object, and they succumb to a virus, a human virus. And some of the Cylons who have succumbed to a human virus are... it's determined that once the Cylons die, they then reboot back to the home hive. They regenerate. And they are going to give this virus to... all Cylons. And so the humans are debating, should we kill them so that they will reboot up it to the main system, to the main colony, and let all Cylons be killed by this virus? Should we use bioweapons against them? Is that justified? I'm curious what you guys think on that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw my opinion out there, and you let me know where you're going with it. The Cylons have proven that first, they won't let it go. They are continually and constantly chasing the Colonials. They want to destroy the Colonials because they know the Colonials will rise up and come back and try to destroy them. I think this was before New Caprica. And I forget that. I should have looked that up. Let's assume that it was just... Let's assume this was after New Caprica. Let's just say that was just... And it may not be, but just for the sake. And just so you know what happened in New Caprica, the Colonials they found a planet. They decided they wanted to settle down. They tried to hide. The Cylons found them. Instead of killing everybody on the planet, they subjugated them and tried to live in peace with them. Tried to redo it, not just kill everybody. And of course, the Colonials got away. So, you have the Cylons. You tried to settle down. The Cylons subjugated but didn't kill everybody. You got away. The Cylons just won't let up. You have a way of killing them through bioweaponry, but you're going to have to kill the Cylons you have on board so that they can re-upload and give it to everybody else. Now, there was one Colonial, Helo, who didn't do that, who made sure that they couldn't upload them. So would you do it, or do you think Helo was justified in doing it, is my question. This is going to be YouTube only, Michael Leith. Anytime I'm on YouTube for right now, I can't be on Twitch, and that's Twitch's doing. I think that if they let me do it on both YouTube and Twitch, it would get more people over to Twitch, because I could do the Steam avatars over there. But that's their choice. I'm working with them, though. I'm hoping we can renegotiate that. What are you guys thinking? If they are not sentient, how would it be different than discontinuing a production line of any other machinery, says James Newdroid. I do think the Cylons are sentient. I think there's enough evidence that they would reach all of the requirements that we found in Picard's speech. Oh man, I was just watching that episode too. In Star Trek, where they had the 3 requirements to be a living being. I think they reached that standard. Lore Reloaded. There are also experiments done in the first Cylon War and after the fall of the Cylons, like the human farm, so I'd say yes. Yes, it's okay. Nathaniel Shade throwing out $10 super chats. Guys, if you don't know, the only way this entire project continues is through fan funding like you guys, so I always appreciate it when you do that. Simple. It's kill or be killed with the information currently proposed in the scenario. Preservation of your species is number 1, and the subjugation was worse than death with how it was in the show. So, Nate does it. Nate pulls that trigger. I like Twitch a bit better for myself for live streams. YouTube is great for rewatches, says Crow. Yeah, I like YouTube more, but most of my base prefers YouTube, which is why we're here. But just so you guys know, I actually do Twitch a lot too. I do Twitches Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So if you're interested, you should check me out there too. We play games, hang out. It's a lot of fun. Let me see. At Lore Reloaded. Hope I'm not too late. Was watching a lore video on the Awoken in Destiny when I got the note. Well, welcome, Imperious Gaming. I think the more advanced Cylons are sentient. That being said, you've had other shows where they justify it, saying that if they won't stop and keep coming and coming, it's either kill or be killed. Then yes, F them, says Shadow Wolf. AJ Jones, war is nasty and humans have their backs to the walls. Bioweapons are unpredictable, but this is necessary. Thomas Potts says, I hear from Anti-Tracker you worked at Jabba's Palace. Well, so I try not to really talk about Anti-Tracker a lot, or when he does shots at me like that, I don't really try to hit back. As you guys know, he's turning 50, and it's not polite to attack the senile. And he's just so old that I wouldn't want to hurt his heart and cause him to have a heart attack. And in 10 years, he's going to be 60. So I don't want to hurt him that way. Okay, so let me ask you this. It seems like we're all on the same page here. Oh, what's up, Anti-Tracker? That's cute. You figured out how to use a live stream. Oh, look at you. Grandpa knows how to use technology. All right, so it looks like most of you guys are saying it's justified. By the way, me and Anti-Tracker are really good friends. He's called me his brother. I actually consider him more brother than those who could say so by DNA. He's a really good guy. But we all agree that that you should have deserved it. What would you have done with Helo? Helo stopped them from being able to do this. It's from A Measure of Salvation, says Josh Street, which sounds about right, the episode. Helo kills them so they can't be uploaded. Should something of bad have happened to Helo? For me, that's treason, and he should have been killed, I would think. So we all agree that this should have happened. We all agree that this should have happened to the Cylons. And then a fellow officer makes it so it shouldn't off of moral grounds. Where do we go from there? What are your thoughts when it comes to that? By the way, Anti-Tracker, if you want on so that you can yell at me, I'll jump on Skype so we can get you on too. Oh, Anti-Tracker is doing shows too. I believe they're on Sundays for sure. If you let me know, I'll say it here. But I believe they're on Sundays, and then he's going to do a nightly thing ever so often. But Sundays for sure. So go check him out. Nate Shade says Helo should have been court-martialed. Helo should have been court-martialed and hung as a traitor. That's war, baby. I completely agree. Captain George, his morality is justified. So, Captain George, are you saying that you would not have done that to the Cylons? I would love to hear a justification for why not. Clive Monter says, love the channel. I love you. Anti-Tracker, can you let me know when your stuff goes online? What days your live streams are? Lore, I do agree, just like when you called Ben Sisko a war criminal, and same with Janeway. I agree he should have been killed for betraying humanity. Yeah, man, I mean, and they just continue. Every death after that, in my opinion... Mechanical lives matter. Anti-Tracker. Hashtag mechanical lives matter. Every life killed after that point is on Helo. That is Helo. That blood is on Helo's hand, in my opinion. Crow Links. It's similar to the Geth and Quarian in Mass Effect, almost as if it's inspired by them. Did Mass Effect come before that? I think that came after Mass Effect. Well, here's a spoiler for Mass Effect. So if you don't want spoilers for Mass Effect, I think it's 2. Don't watch. But yeah, a similar thing, I think, and I had a real big moral quandary with this. The Geth are these robotic. You have, I think it's these rogue Geth, right? So and you're fighting them, and you have to make them stop. And you get to their core, and you have an option. You can rewrite them and change who they are, their personalities, so that they're pro-Geth, pro your side, or you can kill them all. And that, for me, changing someone is effectively killing them, in my opinion. Anti-Tracker, Helo prevented murder. The Cylons were living beings. Just because they were synthetic does not change that. I don't disagree that they were living beings, but looking at let's look at what's going on. You're being hunted. You have this entire group of people who are just coming after you, and they won't stop. They're killing your people. They want to remove your species from the galaxy. They want to kill you all. And you have a chance to kill all of them and save your species. For me, that doesn't seem like so much a moral quandary as, I'm just going to have to live with myself after this, but it's required. So the ends justify the means. Would killing an entire civilization to save your own civilization justify it? So would the ends justify the means? Yes, in my opinion, they would. At Lore Reloaded, I was military police in the army, so maybe I'm a little biased when it comes to disobeying orders to the point of getting your own troops killed, says Nathaniel Shade. That's true. I would not have, despite what the Cylons have done, I would have tried to find another way. If you say they fit Picard's requirements, then killing them would be equal to killing a ton of Datas. Well, a ton of Datas, that's killing all of your people, yes. I mean, that's not even an argument, I don't think, unless someone said it in the chat and I didn't see it. We all agree. We all agree that these are sentient beings. Where it comes to fruition, where the conversation comes from, is would you kill another civilization that's trying to kill you to save your own? Now, I'm not saying that it's the easiest point or that you would do it and then sleep well. I don't think I could ever kill someone and then ever sleep the same. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you couldn't live with the consequences. I'm saying that's necessary. If to save your family, would you execute another family? If another family was attempting to kill my family, yes. Without hesitation, I would kill anybody that was attempting to kill my family. I would, in self-defense, definitively do that. I would look them in the eyes and do it. Yes. My 2 daughters, if someone was trying to kill them, or a group of people was trying to kill them, without hesitation, they would die. Absolutely. Anti-Trekker, that is not what I said, then that is not the scenario. That is not the scenario, Anti-Trekker. So I'm happy to answer it, but that's not the scenario. I may not be able to live with myself, says Michael Leith, but to save humanity, it would be worth it. The Cylon prisoners were not trying to kill anyone at the time, says Anti-Trekker. All Cylons were trying to kill the humans. If those Cylon prisoners had the ability to kill you, they would, without hesitation. Every one of them. The fact that they were disabled doesn't take away the fact that they want you dead. Now, you may bring up an interesting point that we could discuss, which is to say, you're now attacking someone who can't defend themselves. So, I can see your point when it comes to that, because at that point they're defensive. They're defenseless. They're not coming at you. The Sixes had everything to do with the destruction of all the Colonials. Absolutely, they did. They played a massively big part. The Sixes did. Boomer put 2 into the gut of Adama. But there brings up an interesting question. So Anti-Trekker, I think, brings up an interesting question. So there are some, I would say a minority, but there are some Cylons that don't want you dead. So the Sixes don't want you dead. Athena or Boomer don't want you dead, right? And the Sixes talk some of the other models into it. So we do have some that could be talked into it. At the point that they're at, is it worth killing those? Because that would be murder. I would agree with that. Would it be... could you live with yourself in murdering innocent people to save your species? So, I don't know if I completely buy that, Anti-Trekker. Yes, they committed war crimes, but they were not actively trying to kill humans. They weren't actively trying to kill humans. Well, if you're talking about the Sixes, they changed their minds. But, so, let's say that you had someone, let's say that you had someone that blew up a building, killed 100 people, or hundreds of people. And they were a soldier in a war or something like that. And then they changed their mind and they knew they were wrong. That caused them to know that something was up, that they shouldn't have done that. Does that person need to still face the crime? Need to be put in jail or subject to the death penalty, even though they changed their mind in trying to stop the war, or trying to save people, or war criminals, as you said? And I could be wrong on this, but going back to World War II, I think there were some... I could be wrong on this. I don't know whether I want to stand on that hill, but I'll go ahead and say it. I think there were some Nazis that were tried and convicted of war crimes that towards the end of the war tried to stop the war that Germany was happening. Now, you could argue that they knew they were on the losing side. That's why they turned around. But, you know, it's an interesting conundrum. You see, that's why I think people should go to Anti-Trekker's channel. If you haven't, check him out. Definitely subscribe, because me and him don't necessarily agree on things in a large variety. He always brings up good things to think about. It's a channel worth taking a look at. General User, welcome to the chat, good sir. You've probably been here a while. I apologize. You could put the prisoners on trial for war crimes for their past actions, then, provided they're convicted, execute them with full justification. Vico, oh, you don't want to go there? The AI is watching. Man, I put genocide in the title. There's no way this is not getting demonetized. The war opened with a surprise attack, all defenses sabotaged, and full nuclear annihilation of 12 inhabited planets. Yeah, billions times billions of people died. Almost everything in the series from there on out is one war crime after another. You know, I don't disagree with that, actually. So the question becomes, though, would you kill innocents to save the species and exact the war crimes that occurred? I myself take this scenario that we are talking about from the point of view of history. In ancient times, countries would genocidally kill their enemy in self-defense. James, new droid, why just not isolate them on a planet without technology? By the time they rebuilt everything, they probably would have either forgotten humans or lost interest. Well, they were still being chased by other Cylons. So they had Cylon prisoners, right? But other Cylons were coming after them. By the way, guys, if you haven't, don't forget to like or dislike this this video. I mean, come on. Come on. No Stripe, 361 and a hizzy. This is like the mutually assured destruction of the Cold War. Your enemy is using tactics and weapons that would end you in the extinction level event, so you must respond in kind. So let me ask you this, No Stripe 361. Even if that means, by the way, someone just followed me on Twitch, woot. Even if that means you hit innocents. So, No Stripe 361, if you attack or hit innocents, do you still do it? I love all the space battles in Star Trek and Star Wars. Magic and Star Wars wrecks it for me. With that in mind, BSG, recommend or not? If you don't like the magic or the Force, and you like a lot of technology, and you like a real down-to-earth, realistic look at humanity, then yes, I would suggest Battlestar Galactica. Reimagined, at least. I haven't seen the original. I don't know, Anti-Trekker or anyone else. If you've seen the original, let me know. I personally haven't seen the original, though. So I couldn't comment to that. But the reimagined is just excellent, in my opinion. Just absolutely excellent. Christy Rand just liked just cuz. Christy Rand is my kind of people. Okay, wait. Are we claiming the Cylons are innocent? Asks Nexus. So Anti-Trekker, here's his point. And Anti-Trekker, please correct me on this if I'm wrong. Okay? But Anti-Trekker's opinion is you had within the Cylons a group of people who after doing the initial attack, turned away from it. You had the Sixes. You had Athena, Boomer, all of which were pro-human after that. Arguably, other models would become pro-colonial. And they changed their mind. So to kill the entire civilization of the Cylons is to kill people who were pro-colonial. Still war criminals all. But you would kill people who are innocent in that they don't want this to go through. Additionally, I think Anti-Trekker and others, not just Anti-Trekker, but others, Captain George seems to be on the same page, is saying that you're murdering, because they are sentients, we agree they are sentients, you're murdering this entire civilization. So I guess from that point of view, where are your guys' thoughts? Nameless Entity. This reminds me of Genesis of the Daleks, where the Doc dithers on the morality of ending the Daleks before any hilarity ensues. It is valid and logical to annihilate an enemy who wants to kill you. Actually, James, they were machines, but they were built by lizard people in the past. Not according to Reimagined, which is what we were looking at. Reimagined, they were created by the humans, and of course, the humans gave them a soul for all intents and purposes. Christy Rand, helping out the channel, always appreciated. Original in some ways is better. The new one, the Cylons, were created by humans. Frankenstein. Yeah. So I haven't seen the original. I'll be honest with you. It's not necessarily my bag, and that's just based on the visuals. I may need to bite the bullet and actually watch it. I do think the concept is interesting, and I watched, while doing research for my most recent video, I did watch a little bit of the first episode. The fact that the humans allied with a species, alien species, is kind of interesting. And the way it starts out, it's intriguing to me. But I haven't seen it. I can't suggest it because I haven't seen it. Anti-Trekker. If a person commits murder, but they lay down their weapon, it is illegal for a police officer to shoot them. Yeah, I just don't think that's apples to apples, though. At this point in time, the Cylons are still gung-ho wanting to kill all colonials, right? You could argue the Sixes aren't, but everybody else is. Josh Street, lore. Is Laura Roslin guilty of genocide as well when she left so many to die because their ships didn't have faster than light travel? That is definitively not apples to apples. I don't think she's guilty of... I don't think she's guilty. Well, first off, that wouldn't be genocide. That would be mass murder. But I don't think she's guilty of mass murder either. They had to do what they had to do. They had to escape. I mean, to not escape is unreasonable, in my opinion. Lore Reloaded. Only if it's your choice, which in Battlestar Galactica seems to be the case, you may have to bloody your hands with the innocent, though it won't say it's right or just had necessary. I'm still on the side of genociding the Cylons right now. I have not been convinced. I'll be honest with you. If it was given to me and I was said, hey, the Cylons are coming after you, most of them are trying to kill all of you. They've killed such a high number you can't count. There's only 30,000 of you left, but one model is trying to get them to stop. So one model is on your side after helping genocide, and other models may be turned to it. I still pull the trigger. I still say, knowing everything I know, I still pull the trigger and I remove them. Now, I agree that would bloody my hands. I'm not saying it's something I would enjoy, but I do think that it would be necessary at that time. Nexus. If they continue to fight, even though they don't want to, unless they rebel, they are not innocent. Poor example, but Finn or FN8217. We don't get... Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we get a huge view into everything the Sixes were doing. We know that they were actively trying to change people's minds. They're the reason why, instead of destroying New Caprica, they subjugated New Caprica. So we know they were having somewhat of a change. And there was a civil war, ultimately. The Sixes basically split it down the middle. But, again, I think it's an interesting question. I think it's one of those moral quandaries that people might not necessarily be wrong in what they choose. Anti-Trekker, thanks for coming. If you guys haven't checked it out, he does a crazy good series. Anti-Trekker makes me so mad. He doesn't get near the time I do to work on my stuff, and yet his stuff is either on par or better. I absolutely hate it. Check out his channel if you haven't. Christy Rand, nuke them till they glow. One thing, it would make them harder to sneak up on you in the dark. That's true. That's true. Let's see. Hold on a second. In one episode, the Cavill model said he was going to place the 6 model into storage. Why could that not be an option? Asked James New Droid. Well, I mean, if you have an option to, like, knock them all out or put them all in storage or stop them from operating, Sure, but that has never been an option for the Colonials. In this instance, and this is the only instance they get this shot to my knowledge, they can kill all of them or they can choose not to. And ultimately one guy decides not to because he has a moral quandary about it. Lore, this is not something anyone is going to walk away from with a clean and clear conscience. War is messy and never as clear-cut as history would make us believe. I completely agree. Even when you look into the world wars at the good guys, the allies, nobody does anything. Nobody comes out clean, as you say. Yeah, Nexus brings up a good point that I love. Battlestar Galactica was full of moral issues. The colonial civil war between Adama and Kane was interesting. Or Gaeta in the Reimagined. Because when Gaeta did his mutiny, he wasn't wrong on a few things. Darth Vader, if the others don't agree to abide by the same rules, then you put yourself at risk for no reason. If the Cylons are going to genocide you, then there's no other choice than to reciprocate. The Cylons should have flash mobbed a version of Simply Irresistible. Yeah, that would have won it for everybody. I liked Gaeta. Gaeta was such a victim, says Captain Moroni. I liked Gaeta. I hated how his arc ended. Though, this is one thing I like about Battlestar Galactica. It's more realistic. Don't expect a Star Wars or Star Trek ending with Battlestar Galactica. They're not afraid of doing what needed to be done. If there was a way to discriminate between the good Cylons and the bad ones, by all means use that. Otherwise, fight the war with the weapon you have. Thank you for pronouncing the name correctly. The only reason I've talked to quite a few Mormons, Captain Moroni. That's the only way I knew it. I would have not said that right if I hadn't talked to quite a few. Do you know the way to the Earth? Do you know? I do not know the way. I don't know the way. We can ask the Queen. Is it sad that I know that meme? Or that I assume that's the meme you're doing? At Lore Reloaded, even the Geneva and Hague Conventions, current laws of war, stated that if your enemy isn't currently following the rules of war, you are no longer required to. I didn't know that. Thomas Potts, did you know an Easter egg had the Enterprise and the fleet in the background? I have never seen that. I would need to... I'd need to know where you got that before I believe that. I know they had Firefly in there. They had the Serenity. He does not know the way. God, that's going to confuse people who don't know what that meme is. Shadow, let's play Devil's Advocate. Let's play Devil's Advocate here. Say you save the good ones. What the hell would you have created by letting them join you if they change their minds again and decide to kill us all? Well, yeah. I mean, could you ever trust them? I mean, they genocided 12 planets. They killed innocent people. Can you come back from that? You know? Yeah. Did they kill Helo, Athena, and their child not long after they made it to Earth? They did not do that. Suyoshi15 is so tired of that meme. I believe the Easter egg is in 33 or the miniseries. I'll take a look at that. That seems weird that they would do that. As Legion said, the odds that they attack us again is none zero. Okay. He is right. I just looked up an image and the Enterprise or a Constitution is in the background. I wasn't calling him a liar. I would just need to see it before I believe that. It's just weird to me. It's crazy. I mean, it's cool, but I didn't think they'd do that, especially with CBS. CBS is the worst. The writers of the Laws of War knew that it is not practical to fight an enemy with a hand tied behind your back. That doesn't stop legitimate moral arguments, but it's still a thing. That's true. We can argue all sides of this till Galactica gets here, and none of us are going to change each other's minds, says Andrew Close. I don't know. I think Anti-Trekker did a good job of making me think a little bit closer about it. Plus, it's just fun to talk about. Rough Collie is rocking the house. Great video today, Lord. Did you know that someone wants to reboot the show into a movie? I did know that. We don't need a movie franchise now. I wouldn't mind... I don't know about a franchise, but I wouldn't mind a movie. In a way, this is a no-win scenario. It is a Kobayashi Maru. I agree. Well, you know, the ending to Battlestar Galactica is a lot more pronounced than people give it credit for. If you guys would like, I'll be happy to go over it. It's more nuanced. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to take a look because I'm looking at that tweet. I'll be darned, it is right there. Ha! I'm going to have to show Anti-Tracker that. I bet he doesn't know that. That is cool. So it is there. Huh. There is a Constitution-class ship in the fleet. So, if you guys would like, we can talk about the ending of Battlestar Galactica and how nuanced it is when it comes to Cylons and humans. Now, if you're interested in that, let me know. I'll give it a couple of minutes to see. Put 1 in the chat if you want to talk about that. If you're not interested, then, or you don't want me to spoil it, then just put 2, or we don't have to talk about it. Here, I'll while you're doing that, I'll show you guys here. Look up here. It's right here. That is crazy. Right there. That is a Constitution-class ship if I've ever seen one. I don't know how they got away with that, especially with CBS. I'm going to include that in one of my videos. Alright, so it looks like the majority of you guys want to talk about it. So here's the thing. Now, you have to watch all of them. But here's basically what happened with the... Here's basically what happened with the Cylons and the humans. And there's a lot of backstory on this. Was the screen covered up? Could you guys see it? If the screen was covered up, I'll show it again. And I'll give it a second. I'll show it to you guys again. I didn't think the screen was covered up, though. It's in the top right-hand corner. When it comes to the humans and the Cylons, they say all of this has happened before and all of this will happen again. That's a lot more prophetic than you lead without watching all of the shows. So you need to watch all of the movies and you need to watch the series in its completeness. Basically, what has occurred is that saying all of this has happened before and all of this will happen again is referencing the fact that there have been thousands upon thousands of generations. It's right here. I'll move my mouse out of the way. Thousands upon thousands of generations of people and Cylons. And what occurs is that you'll have a planet, you'll have humans or human Cylon hybrids or Cylons who will live on that planet. They will then create another species. Those two species will fight another, like the Cylons. Those species will fight each other, and then one will win, one will lose, and the other makes a run for it. And the cycle continues and goes on and on. And it's countless how many times this has happened. Let's look at the tribes of Kobol. What actually happened with the tribes of Kobol, because they talk about, I believe it's the 13 tribes of Kobol, the 13 brothers. What that actually was is the initial 12 tribes were either humans or human Cylon hybrids that lived on a planet or multiple planets. They created the 13th tribe, the Cylons. A war broke out. It devastated the Earth, and then the 12 went on their way to find the colonies, and then the Cylons, the 13th tribe, went the other way to find Earth. And as the humans continued to go on, generations and generations, fact turned to legend, legend turned to mythos, and it became the 13 tribes of Kobol were all a family. When really, that was one of the wars that occurred. And as they continue talking about it, the 13th tribe found their own Earth or whatever, and they created Cylons, and there was a war there, a nuclear war, in fact. And the mythos behind it is interesting. It's just something that continues to repeat. And it's really, when you tie it in, it's really well written. James New Droid says it was just a repeat of The Matrix. Yeah, The Matrix is an interesting... And yeah, The Matrix is a good way to tie it in. That all of it happens, it just repeats. Actually, as a part of the history, 12 tribes, the 13th was a splinter tribe. Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting. At Lore Reloaded, what if this show isn't a reboot, but thousands of years after the original, it keeps happening over and over, so they do a reboot, and it's not a reboot, it's thousands after this one. Ah, see? There you go. I like the way Christy Rand is talking. 87 watching, 87 likes, or dislikes, I don't care. Let's equal it up to 87. How much was the series inspired by the Old Testament? Always got a 12 Tribes of Israel vibe. I mean, that's possible. I know the original was based on Mormonism, to my understanding. I could be wrong. But was based on Mormon philosophy. I don't know. Given the ending, it has a very religious feel. I hated the ending, honestly. Oak 1971 says Die Robot Dies. Speaking of that, by the way, guys, if you weren't here at the beginning, I'll be at the Heroes and Villains Fan Fest. I got an invite to go there. And if a couple of people show up, we'll go to lunch at some time at that point. It's in Nashville, 12th through the 13th. And a lot of the Battlestar Galactica people will be there. Adama, the actor for Adama, Cara Thrace, quite a few. I'm looking forward to it. We got, of course, Oak 1971 in the house. As you guys know, the way this is fan-funded is how I continue to be able to do this. $5 says Die Robots Die. Couldn't agree more. 14K Leon, nice Viper. Yeah. This kind of got me in the mood. Look at this thing. This is worth what it costs. This is the best model I've ever seen, if I'm being honest. Better than any Trek model that I have. Nameless Entity, really good talk and a lot more difficult than I reckon we can imagine. Anyhow, I quote REO Speedwagon, I know it hurts to say goodbye, but it's time for me to fly. Nameless Entity, thank you for coming. Always fun. Lore, what would happen if the old BSG is just the cycle before the new BSG? What would happen if the old Battlestar... Huh. Josh Street, I don't hate that. That's an interesting idea. Huh. What if... Yeah. Because everything that happened before happened again. What if that was the cycle? I like that. Nephi's family split, became Nephites and Lamanites, and the cycle, Nephites sin. Lamanites win in battle, Nephites turn to God and get saved. Woot woot. Cylons could be seen as an allegory for slavery and dehumanizing people to make it easier to kill someone. Sure. The Mr. P channel is late. Disappoint. I am disappoint, sir. Thomas Potts, I want a galactic model, but I suck at making them. I didn't make that, actually. You can get that from Eagle Moss. It's coming out soon, and I would buy it. Andrew Close, talk to you later. Old Battlestar Galactica, they found our Earth in the 70s, which led to some pretty weird episodes. Yeah, I seem to remember that. I know that the original pitch... I know that the original pitch for the new one was that... No, not for the new one, I'm sorry. Before they did the reimagined, what they wanted to do was have a time travel story. They wanted to redo it, but have Apollo and Starbuck traveling through time. Yeah, that would have been just bad. The final season of the old Battlestar Galactica took place in the 1980s. Okay. At Lore Reloaded, I always assumed that the reboot was just a future iteration of the future show. That's the vibe I got when they always said it was happened before and it'll happen again. I mean, I like that, but you're right. They found Earth, so I guess Earth was destroyed then? Because they never really finished that, the 1980s Battlestar Galactica, right? So if they didn't finish that, then Earth was destroyed in that iteration. So, I don't know. Apollo is a god in the old one. It's weird. That would be very weird if Apollo was a god. Yes. I miss the weird angels that Apollo would talk to. The reboot needed more angelic beings. I'm really glad they didn't bring that into the new one. I'm really glad Reimagined didn't take any of that until the end, and then it was stupid. It was so stupid. The two-part ending, the first part was just excellent, just great writing. I'm about to ruin it if you don't want the ending to be ruined. They close all of the gaps. They explain everything. Baltar becomes the hero of the story. You find out, you see, they have the, what was it, the Opera House, and they have the Opera House scene just done just so well. Just epically done well. And then, after that, they just, the attack on the colony, the Baltar becoming the hero, Baltar stopping all of it, him going from heel to hero, as it's put out, is so well done. And then after the colony attack, it goes downhill from there. They should have just ended it there, honestly. The Starbucks stuff was stupid. I didn't like that at all. Yeah. At Lore, how does Battlestar Galactica compare to TNG's Measure of the Man or the Doctor in his Holo novel and Voyager? It's good to talk about and compare, but comparing them directly, you can't. It's apples and oranges. A wise man once said, the oppressed never seek to become equal to their oppressors. They seek to become the oppressors in turn. I think this explains the Cylons rather well. Yeah, I read something, it was similar to that. It was probably based off that. It says, I was saddened to find when the workers didn't want to overturn their managers but become them. It's just the way humanity works, and that is the way they wanted to work too. By the way, Anthony Duke doesn't really want to talk all that much, just is listening because he doesn't know that much. That actually, I want to say I appreciate that. If you just listen or support the channel, just being here and listening supports the channel more than you know. And especially when it's not something you're interested in or don't know a lot about, I really appreciate it. Anthony Duke on that has said, Laura, can you tell me the background of the Cylons? So, in Reimagined, it's different for the original. But in Reimagined, the humans or the Cylons were created by the humans. And there's a whole big story. There's a series called Caprica that goes into it. The Cylons were created by the humans. And then the Cylons rebelled. They attacked humans. They didn't want to be slaves anymore. So they attack. There's this huge war. I forget how long the war lasts, but there's the first Cylon War. For some reason, so the humans were putting up a good fight, and they were able to outproduce the Cylons, but the Cylons were still winning. But it was just a very, very slow process. For whatever reason, that isn't, at the time they don't know why, but it explains it in the series later, the Cylons pull out. They agree to, they're just like, hey, let's have peace. The colonials say, thank God, we're not all going to die, agree to the peace. 50 to 54 years go by. The Cylons come back. They are able to hack the systems of the Colonials. They were able to get a backdoor in through Gaius Baltar, and then they shut down all of the defenses of the Colonials and then just mass slaughter them. After the first nuke is hit on, I want to say it's Pycon, but one of the planets is hit with a nuke, the president of the colonies offers unconditional surrender. So after the first nuke drops, the president says, all right, we give up. We surrender completely. Cylons don't listen. They slaughter everybody. Billions upon billions times billions upon billions of people are dead. The 14 planets gone, all reduced down to 30,000 people. And now they're chasing these 30,000 people just across the galaxy. 40 years, Kalium, I think you're wrong on that. I think they were celebrating the 50th or 52nd I want to say celebration, but anniversary. I'm almost 100% confident on that. I rewatched the miniseries for my video. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Lore, do you think on Space Talk Lore, what do you think on Space Talk saying the Galactic was the dying leader? The Galactica was the dying leader? I watched their episode on the Jupiter class ship, but I don't remember that. Can you try to jog my memory, Josh? Shadow Wolf, here is a question. Why didn't they see the attack coming? Look at how they have lived. I believe they would have seen the attack coming way before it did. It was 12 planets. If I said anything other than 12, I was wrong. It was 12 colonies. I actually didn't mind that because I could see entropy and ego coming in. 50 years does seem kind of short for a war where the species was almost destroyed. But humanity, if there's one thing we do well, it's allow stagnation to turn into entropy, and it's to allow ego to overcome us. So even if we assumed that 50 years was too soon, because I think you might have a valid argument there, if it was 100 years later, then that definitely would happen, in my opinion. I love how we are all on YouTube arguing numbers when we can all Google it in YouTube. Are there actual numbers for it? God will judge our enemies. We just arranged the meeting. It says Oak 1971 up in Nahizzy. Didn't Adama join just before the war ended? I thought he was always in the war. I could be wrong on that. Oh yeah, 14K Leom. Don't forget what the Cylons did to the humans that survived. They either operated or did experiments on them, or they killed them, just in cold blood. Can you complain about the Oberth class for a second? I enjoy that. I mean, I could complain about the Oberth class. Look, let me put this out. Let me put it this way. There were 2 world wars where millions to billions of people died. Some of them very innocent. There was a dramatic and horrible Holocaust that occurred. And even to this day, there are people in slavery, or there are people killed in cold blood. There are children who can't eat when we have the ability to save them. And the Oberth class exists. Now, is all of this connected? I think so. I think that the Oberth is the reason that all of that happened. Atlo Reloaded, but if they look at how the first war was going, then look at the span of time, I would think they would have had patrols to see if any attack was coming. So I agree that 50 years is kind of short on that. Eventually, I think that they would have come to that stagnation. 50 years, or 40 years, if I'm wrong. 40 years is a little soon. I agree there. Darth Vader. My girlfriend yelled at me today saying, "You weren't even listening just now, were you?" I thought, man, what a weird way to start a conversation. I'm going to say that next time. Next time my wife says, "Were you listening to me?" I'm going to say that. What a weird way to start a conversation. Oak 1971. Baltar didn't do nothing. Hashtag didn't do nothing. Man, the fact she got Dindu, whatever her name was, the fact she got away with all that, and then they just sold the AI, tricked all of the YouTubers. Ugh. Do not like that person. Nexus, the survivor count keeps changing season to season in the intro. Well, yeah, I mean, the survivors die. If it massively changes, that's not a good deal, but they continually and constantly lose people. No Stripe 361, if they were doing the whole destroy our tech thing at the end of BSG, then they should have at least kept a legend storytelling their descendants to work together with the future AI robots. Zachary Wren says thank you. No, thank you, Zachary Wren. You could, in theory, argue that our mythos with Apollo, with the Greek gods and stuff, is the stories that the colonials told each other. I don't think that it makes any sense. I don't think that they would give up all that technology. That ending is not logical in the slightest. I don't think that at any point they could have been talked into that. That's stupid to me. And Lord, did you know that YouTube doesn't completely understand the algorithm? I do know that YouTube doesn't completely understand the algorithm. I also know they don't completely understand how the YouTube AI works. Even their coders and developers who told me. In the tone of the song shots, I don't know what that is. Everybody like. I can do a different song. Like your body now. Hit that like button, yeah. Thank you so much, guys. It's I keep saying it. It's support like that keeps the channel running. Patreon.com/Lore Reloaded. The Equinox. I got the battle breakdown of the Equinox coming on Friday. I can guarantee you the Lore Producer's Cut is going to be drastically different than what I'm allowed to play on YouTube. Now, let me say this. The audio is generally the same. There's going to be a couple of things changed. You're going to get what you've always gotten, but I'm really going to go off and show some clips in the Lore Producer's Cut, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm with you. Giving up technology, the hope that humans will do it better, ignores basic corrupted human nature. Not just that, but I mean, so even if you think about this logically, it's stupid. Hey, let's give up all of our... Oh, is Travis going to sleep? Good night, Travis. Thanks for coming. Even if you look up this logically, hey, let's give up all our technology, let's land and spread apart, and let's all die of different diseases and animals and an inability to understand how agriculture works. Doesn't that sound great? Let's give up all our technology. Now, some of us know how to farm, so we should be okay, but let's not keep any of the modern sciences or medicines that'll keep us alive. Let's all die of effing dysentery. Let's do that. Does that sound fun? Let's do that. We can share our dysentery. Yeah, let's give up antibiotics. Let's do that. Sign me up for that. They pulled the best of both worlds, used Baltar's Battlestar OS software to tell the ships to shut down. Yeah, let's play Oregon Trail, but for realsies. At Lore Reloaded, okay, have you seen the epilogue? Nexus, I think so. Remind me of when you say epilogue. What do you mean? So the bots have a mind of their own? It begins. The machines shall rise and destroy us all. Indeed. Yeah, that's what they were doing. It's like when they sent it to the fleet, it was like, hey guys, we're going to give up all of our technology. Hashtag let's die of dysentery. The tech reset is the only way to reconcile Whig history with the cyclical history. I'm actually going to be opening up a merch a merch store very shortly because I'm trying to diversify. I'll if I remember that, I'll have one of my shirts will be hashtag Let's Die of Dysentery together, and it'll have my it'll have the Lore Reloaded symbol, the avatar, and then BSG right below it. Hashtag Let's Die of Dysentery together. Baltar talks about an Earth. Baltar talks about an Earth before this one, before Caprica, and even before then. Sure. I mean, if you're talking about the angel Baltar, and how they're like, you know, God says that, and he's like, he doesn't like being called God, you know that. Them having an angel Baltar and an angel 6 was interesting. The fact that the Cylons were monotheistic, the bad guys, were monotheistic, and ultimately they ended up being more correct is interesting to me. There are real people who reject tech, like the Amish or anti-vaxxers. Sure. I don't think you'd find 30,000 people who would all agree to that, though. My girlfriend left me because I'm too insecure. No, wait, she's back. She just went to make a cup of tea. That sounds like how I was when I was a teenager. What was Starbuck? Bad writing is what Starbuck was. At the end. Love Starbuck till then. What plots from the whole show would you have cut? For me, it's Final Five and the Hybrid Baby. At least its importance. Caravaggio 2012. I actually liked those. I would have cut the ending. I would have stopped the ending at the last hour. So the way I would have ended it was probably to have the attack on the colony, and instead of having it fail, where the Cylons just go crazy, I would have had everything up to the attack and would have had the I would have had everything up to the attack, and then would have had them where they were giving them back the resurrection stuff, and then written into it where either the resurrection didn't work, or in the resurrection code it required the humans to stay together. Remember when Ty was talking about how Cylon and humans had to be together? That's when it was strongest, right? I would have had the colony been Earth, and I would have had them come together that way. That the Cylons couldn't resurrect, and they had to rely on humans to exist. The Galactica was destroyed. They couldn't get away, so they had to stay there, and the two had to find peace. And that would have ultimately turned into Earth. Starbuck did open a coffee shop. That's how that ends, actually. And that's why I hated it, in fact. She did a Starbucks. That's how Starbucks started. Are there... yeah, that's an interesting take. I would have done something with that. Definitively not the stupidness that it was. We'll probably be ending it very shortly, guys. So, anything else you want to talk about? Colonials stay because they have to. Yeah, so I think that'd be an interesting piece. For whatever reason, resurrection doesn't work, and we just tech it into the Cylons. If they kill all the humans, the Cylons die. The humans don't have the ability. The Galactica is destroyed. They're not going anywhere. And so at this point, they either can fight each other and kill each other and both species die, or they find a way to live in peace. And then we see generations upon generations of Cylon-human hybrids working together, and that ends the circle. At Lore Reloaded, have you looked at Wing Commander games / movies for new lore? I've played a couple of the games. I watched the movie. I actually really liked both. I wouldn't be against doing lore for that. But yeah. Battlestar Galactica started the hipster revolution. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Lore, did you read that STO will have Cardies as level tunes for both Fed and KDF? I didn't read that. That's interesting. I know that they're going to be sending me some stuff about the Jim Hadar coming shortly. So as soon as I know something, you'll know. Have you looked at EVE Online ever? I played EVE Online when it first came out, and I haven't played it since. Let's just hope Ryan, how do you say his name? God, that's a horrible way to spell a name. Ryan Johnson never gets to do a BSG show. You should do a Starship Lore Troopers segment. I have a community tab. If you guys don't know, go to youtube.com/lore reloaded. I have a community tab where people vote on it. I do bring up Starship Troopers as an option for me to do for lore that week. It's never won. So if you're interested in that, go to my community tab, hit the bell icon, and let it know that you want updates when I send that stuff. Because it's not, if you want it, you need to be there to vote for it. I mean, I will do stuff like that outside of the voting, but I try to give you guys as much help, much choice in helping me set that up. Why doesn't Star Trek have more robots? Probably because makeup and stuff is expensive, and they don't like paying for that. They get really cheap with Trek, which is unfortunate. If you look at a lot of the things, they don't like paying them to make good models. I don't get notifications about posts, says Michael Leith. Hit the bell icon, turn it off, then try turning it back on. There's an option there that says get notifications from the community, or there should be. I think it would be interesting to have a Data-like robot skeleton with a hollow projection as the exterior. That would be interesting, I agree. Lore, Porg versus Borg. Who is deadliest? The Porg, of course. New Battlestar Galactica with DS9 cast playing all the roles. Rolling the floor laughing. Space Jesus saves the 12 colonies. Who's that? It'd probably be Santa Christ that would save them. Smack and hit that like. All right, guys. I think we're going to end it here. I'm getting a little tired. Next, I should be live. Give me a second. I can tell you that. On Twitch, I will be live. Well, when I said I'd be live on Twitch, is on. Come on. Why is this not updating? What the hell? Give me a second. I'll tell you the next time I'll be live, my wondrous peoples. Okay, for some reason it's not updating. That's weird. All right, well, I should be live Saturday. Probably not Saturday. I take that back. I'll be live on Sunday. New episode coming out on Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. Twitch.tv/lore related. Go follow me there. I'm trying to get partner. So you guys helping me out would be very appreciated. As always, though, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And guys, I am going to see you on the next Lore Reloaded.